This is a really interesting movie to talk about. What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter, and today we are talking about Ryan Coogler's newest film, Sinners.
You twins? Nah, we cousins.
Sinners stars Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and it is helmed by writer-director Ryan Coogler, who also helmed the 2 Black Panther films in the MCU and a couple of other projects as well. And this is a really complicated one to talk about because this movie covers so many themes, but since I saw the first trailer, I have kind of had my eye on this film, and then it debuted with like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and then dropped down to 99% with the critic score. I'm not sure what it's at right now, but it really did pique my interest because it looked like this fun horror vampire movie, but also mixed with like race issues that Ryan Coogler does talk a lot about in his film. So I was very intrigued by it, and then especially with that score that it debuted with, it really did catch my attention. So before we jump into this review, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify if you prefer podcast versions of these reviews. And if you've seen Sinners, let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Without further ado, let's jump into the review. Okay, so right off the bat, not really gonna wait anything out on this one. I was not the biggest fan of this movie. Pause. This movie did keep me invested and intrigued for about 2/3, and then by the third act of the film, I just really lost it, but we're gonna get into that more in a second. So, the plot of Sinners follows 2 brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan, in 1960s in Mississippi. So, in that setting, and both characters, Michael B. Jordan being African American, this movie covers a lot of themes about slavery, about race, racism, inequality, Ku Klux Klan, things along that line. And at the heart of this film, like, yes, it is about vampires, it's about slavery and racism, it's trying to say all of these different things with those themes. At the heart of it, it is very religious. There are a lot of religious themes in here, but there's also a big connection with music. So, the 2 brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan, have moved back to Mississippi from Chicago to make a name for themselves. They want to open this blues club, basically, make a lot of money off of it, change their lives, and make a name for themselves here in Mississippi. Their cousin is a up-and-coming, wants to be a star, a blues musician. He's got this amazing voice.
Somebody take me in your eyes.
So they put him on in the club or the blues house that they're creating. He is the main attraction for this opening night of this club. And like any movie, as the story goes on, you slowly peel back on who these brothers are. You learn more about each one of them, their history, their life, their childhood, why they are the way that they are. They're these 2 very tough guys. Don't ask questions, take names, everything like that. Like, they will kill you, essentially. Like, they do not care. They have each other's backs. So, mixed in with all of these themes of racism, slavery, music, all of this movie is a horror vampire thriller. So in this story, vampires are attracted to music. They are attracted to musicians. They feed off of that.
People with the gift of making music so true, it can conjure spirits from the past and the future.
Basically, it's like a cult. They want to turn you into a vampire so they can live on forever and ever and ever and ever. With this movie being very religious, music is basically like pure, good, like on the God side, everything having to do with heaven. And then these vampires represent the devil. They represent evil. That's what it is. It's sinning. Sinners. Title of the movie. And as a horror movie, this movie is very effective. The opening is incredibly tense, incredibly creepy, and everything having to do with the vampires is incredibly unsettling. It's not like a Twilight movie where it's romantic or anything like that, but it's also not overly cheesy. Like, it is genuinely creepy. And for the first 2/3 of this movie, all of those elements, those themes are balanced rather well. Like, you get a horror-ish opening, And then like little droplets of that as the movie goes on. You learn more about these brothers. There's discussion of racism, slavery, injustice happening in the country at that time, and still today, but like things that were happening then. And by the middle act of the movie, all of our main characters have joined at this blues house that the two brothers have opened. You get great dancing, great like musician numbers that like I have not really seen done in film before. Like it was done very, very well. The mixing of like older music, decades before the 60s, then music in the 60s, and then kind of going into like the 80s, and then into like the future, like today. And it has really, really great scenes. Like Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job of directing these musical scenes. You also get powerhouse performances from Michael B. Jordan as both brothers, playing kind of like the same person, but they have little small quirks and things that separate them. They're different people, obviously. And then you have an amazing performance from Hailee Steinfeld, who, I mean, I hadn't really seen that before in her. Like, this was a really, really great performance for her.
We're gonna kill every last one of you.
As you get into, like, where the third act of the movie goes, I'm not really going to go into spoilers, but essentially, this does, like I said, it deals with vampire lore. Vampires in lore and all of that, like in books and stories, can't come in somewhere unless they are invited. These vampires show up to their blues house because they are attracted to the music and they are wanting to get in, but they're not showing themselves as vampires, obviously. The main brothers don't like the vibe to them, and so they don't trust them, they don't let them in. So the vampires cannot come in because they haven't been allowed in. And for about 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, you get this standoff between the people that are living and then the vampires standing outside, and it's really tense. Gets into like a little bit of horror comedy that I really, really loved, and it still has that musical score coming in. And then it gets kind of dumb. One of the characters, I'm not going to say exactly what, the vampires come in and it turns into this whole like over-the-top fight, because obviously you have to have the story progress somehow. It can't just be a standoff and then the vampires die at sunrise, because that wouldn't be the story, right? So vampires have to come in somehow. It becomes this whole fight, kind of really changes themes here. And then by the end of that, once the vampires are kind of dealt with, it all of a sudden shifts plots again right at the end and becomes this thing again more about racism and like the Ku Klux Klan, and which is, I'm not against that. Like, it was a good story, but it just like the movie shifted so quickly to something at the end that had nothing to do with the majority bulk of the film. And so it just felt, it was like a kind of a whiplash into something else. Like, I was not ready for that. I wasn't against like the story it was telling, but it didn't blend them together by the end, like in a very satisfying way. And it felt like Ryan Coogler wanted to say so much in this movie about, he wanted to make a horror vampire film and then talk about injustice and racism in the 60s, and then have this beautiful thing about music, but he couldn't figure out a way to mesh all of them together, and you can really feel that by the end of the movie. Another weird thing with this one, not really spoilers here, but there is a post-credit scene in the movie, and I'm not talking like a Marvel MCU 30-second stinger. No, this is like a 5-minute, like, true ending to the movie that plays a little bit into the credits. And the theater I was in, people started leaving because it's not a Marvel movie. They're not waiting for an end credits. And so they missed this ending of the film. I'm not even going to call it an end credits because it really is the full ending of the film that tied up the story in a much more satisfying way than the actual ending of the film before the credits rolled. And I thought that was a really odd thing to do, because I don't think maybe Ryan Coogler couldn't remove himself from like the Black Panther MCU, like let's put in a post-credit scene and make that the end of the movie, when this is not that. This is like not a Marvel superhero movie. This is something else. It's its own thing, and people aren't just going to stick around for the end credits in like a random movie. So just a bit of an odd choice there. So wrapping this review up with the verdict, while I really enjoyed the first 2/3 of this movie, Michael B. Jordan acted like so well in this movie, Hailee Steinfeld as well. The entire supporting cast was very, very phenomenal here. Everything having to do with the horror elements and the vampires kind of representing the devil and religious themes and all that was handled very well for the most part. Like, it was creepy, it was unsettling. The movie was shot beautifully, it looks fantastic. I love the themes of like talking about racism and injustice and how the movie kind of deals with them and the messages it has to say about that, but it just, by the end, it couldn't pull all of its themes together, and it just felt very uneven and just kind of scattershot about all these different things the film wanted to talk about. So it just felt a little odd by the end and a little disappointing, mixed with the weird thing of ending your movie after the credits. So all that being said, while I really wanted to enjoy Sinners and give it higher praise, I'm gonna give Sinners a 6.5 out of 10, and on a see it, stream it, or skip it, I'd say stream it. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Sinners in the comments. Check out my other videos right here. I'm currently running through the Mission Impossible series leading up to the new one. I'll put that right here. Thanks you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you all on the next video.